Where'd you order from?
Domino's.
All right. Broadcast is live. So who wants to summarize what happened last time?
Well, we had reached some island cavern, or at least some strip of land in a cavern. Eggmorn had a fever, was burning up. Tacitus saw that he had something crawling underneath his skin. So, in order to make the fever subside, or at least stop it from killing him, he was put back into the cold water, and then used magic to shrink him down to get him out of his armor, so they could try to get whatever was crawling under his skin.
It's the most elaborate surgery ever done.
Right. Well, I was saying it was like the world's first Gasio transmutational surgery. But he turned the gas to get the creature out. Possible future applications to cancer, we're still investigating, but it's our process. At some point during the procedure, his reverse legs turned back to normal, and so that convinced Ivar that it must have been turning to gas and turning back to gas. That did not work out. Ivar was very concerned for Elmorn, and clearly hates Marthal, who I think I gathered roofied him at some point in the past.
I did.
Yeah,
yeah, I did that.
At some point, there were some tries and failures to get the worm out of Eggmorn, or Elmorn, I guess, when he was transformed back. He was Egg and Elmorn again. But Ivar at some point got the idea to just shoot at the creature when the creature was starting to burrow deeper in, and then reached in with one of his slimy tentacles to try to grab the creature, and got stuck inside the wound while wrapping the end of his tentacle around it. We were unsuccessful in trying to pull my tentacle out with the worm, but we did almost kill Elmorn in the attempt. So it wasn't that we did nothing. So actually, it was. I think at that point you went back to the plan of trying to turn him into a gas.
Yeah, it was at that point.
Yeah, because prior to that, we were just trying to cut the thing out of it.
Yeah,
so
and managed to grab it
because you were. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was going to say because you were grabbing onto it because you had it. That's what helped to guide the spell work.
Right.
Focus it.
And then when you transformed him back from a gas, you had managed to separate out the worm so that it didn't turn to gas with him. But when he turned back, he was Elmorn and Egg again rather than Eggmorn. And then we decided to rest.
Yeah. We were pretty but Ivar did use his time as a gas to do some additional things.
Oh yeah, that's true. As a gas, I scouted out the rest of the cavern and then found a crack and went up in one direction about 100 feet or so, and found that at least if you can slip through a crack, there is a way up to the less monstrous part of the city. Not unmonstrous because there were orcs there, but somewhat less monstrous part of the city.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what city we're in.
Grey Wall.
It's just hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
And throughout the night, I would have given my hypothesis for what happened and why Elmorn got healed up so quickly. It was the thing that burrowed inside of him, I believed to be from the Otyug. Is that what it's called? Yeah, the Otyug. They sometimes create. This is how they reproduce. They xenomorph people essentially, but while the larvae is inside of a person, they're sort of emboldened or they got increased vitality and regenerative power, but then their head explodes. So he regenerated quicker, and who knows when his head would have exploded.
That's good to know.
So hopefully nobody else was hit by that.
No, I think we killed it.
Yeah, everybody except Elmorn passed their Constitution saves.
All this time, I thought doctors putting leeches on things was just quackery, but maybe there's something to
it. So additionally, through the night, during the rest, Skullbur had provided you guys with some information regarding the Silithar that you guys encountered. So he was able to name it. He said that it was a Silithar. And he said that he's actually, since he lives underground and since there are all of these ruins from the Dakani goblin kingdoms of ancient times, he said that he hasn't kind of been exploring the ruins and studying some things, and he's learned to read some of the ancient goblin, and from what he can tell, there are some stone recordings indicating a big war between the Goblin Empire and what they call the Flesh Warpers, and the Dakani had tried to utilize their own kind of magic against them, and it resulted in the creation of the Silithar. And so the Silithar was actually used as a weapon, but they weren't able to control it. And so they instead tried to kill it. They couldn't do that, and so they imprisoned it, but it's kind of trapped down here, but it still is able to move around. And Skullbur also mentions that his lair is warded to protect him from the Silithar.
I think I sensed that.
Mm-hmm.
Those hides that you had, would they have protected us from that thing?
The words that Skullbur etched into the hides, they do a couple of things. They mask the presence of Skullbur from the Silithar, but also if the Silithar approaches, the magic allows the Silithar to pass from one area to the next seamlessly without crossing my lair. So Skullbur's lair.
So wait, is this your lair, or is your lair somewhere else?
No, this is not Skullbur's lair. Skullbur's lair is where you slept last.
Yeah, I think I was unconscious for that.
I knew I wanted to take one of those damn pelts with me.
So that dragon thing, that beast was the Silithar.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Very powerful weapon against these flesh warpers.
Are there any modern renditions of a flesh warper? Are those tree things on? We saw these deranged trees on the surface. Are they flesh warpers?
No. Those are creations of Zorchiklik. He makes those. They are his creations. Skullbur does not know how he does it, but it is through some kind of magic that creates creatures linked to his mind. These are different from the flesh warpers.
Do you know if any flesh warpers exist today?
All Skullbur knows is that the Dakani had been at war with them, and the Dakani had been losing.
Are they native to this area?
As far as Skullber can tell, flesh warpers have not been around since the times that have been recorded. Something may have happened to push back the flesh warpers.
Hmm. Interesting. I'm sure the Silithar had some role in pushing them back.
Perhaps. I have not had, Skullber has not had the courage to try to communicate with the thing.
And I'm not a doctor. Tacitus is our resident doctor here. But I'm sure he would agree that you should not try to communicate with that thing.
It doesn't seem very friendly.
Yeah, it was a great weapon. It's made what made Drome all that it is today.
The Silithar is what made your arms like that, and your hands like that.
Like this? My hands have always been like this. At least ever since we've been down here.
I'm sorry, I can't understand you. It sounds like you have something in your mouth.
I do have some marbles in my mouth. So,
So were you aware of any cures for the flesh warping that the Sithilar does? Say as I waggle my tentacles at him.
Nothing that Skullber has seen in the small amount of writing Skullber has found have talked about this. Mostly the writings describe the things that the Silithar was meant to do and the terror that it wrought upon both Dukani and the flesh warpers.
Can I rub my face on your cloak?
For what purpose would you need to rub your face upon my cloak?
If it has runes against the flesh warpers, maybe it has runes against flesh warper against the Silithar. Maybe it works against Silithar magic.
Skullber can't understand you. Can any of you translate what this one is trying to say?
Martha just starts rubbing his face on his cloak.
And then with his little hands, he starts swatting at you like this.
Just let him be. Just let him be.
Martha, you get a little bit of grease and some kind of other substance that Skullber seems to secrete on your face. It doesn't smell most pleasant.
I'll take the good with the bad.
You're assuming good.
I'm assuming good. Not necessarily. So, it has, besides a slightly more greasy face, is there any, does Martha feel any different?
No. So that as you rub your face into his cloak, you see that there are no runes etched into his cloak.
You dirty liar.
Skullber lies not. Skullber understood that.
There's no runes here.
Skullber never said there were runes here. They protected my Skullber's lair.
Like a cloak of warding or something.
That is Actually, a good idea. Sculber should work on something like that. Perhaps, perhaps you are not useless after all, human.
Well, I was told you were the smart one. Clearly not.
Does he have any of the? Is he wearing any of those skins that he had made up from his lair?
No, outside of the cloak, he doesn't really wear anything. He's got a belt on that has like a bone carved knife, um, and he has a pouch filled with some kind of
Zordon.
He's got a pouch. You don't know what's in the pouch, but yeah, he's not really wearing much.
Not leaving much to the imagination.
Mm-mm.
I guess as part of the end of our rest here, I might ritually cast my detect magic.
Okay.
So, over 10 minutes while they're kind of talking, I'm just curious what he might have on him, if anything, that is magical. And I'll keep concentrated on for the full 10-minute duration.
Both the knife and the pouch seem to have vague magical auras surrounding them.
Just them.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I? What school of magic do I?
So the blade has it looks to be some kind of divination magic. The pouch is kind of multi-aura'd. It's hard to detect any single school, but the magic is very weak, almost not even present.
Sure. On both things, or on the
No,
pouch and the
I mean both are fairly weak, but the one on the pouch
Sure.
is like
Got it.
wisps of magic, if anything.
Shall we get moving?
Well, hold on. Marthal hasn't tried, eating a piece of the cloak. Maybe if you got it good and inside you.
The cloak is not magical.
Yeah, it's too greasy, and that's not going to help.
It's fried up.
That'd be fine if Charles were here. I miss Charles. I wonder if he thinks about me sometimes.
This is the point in the movie when they cut back to Charles having a party.
Actually, I'm glad you mentioned this because this reminded me of something that I was going to implement, and it's fortuitous that Tacitus, you have your detect magic active, because not too far away from Marthau, you just happen to glance over, and you see something kind of flashing in and out of existence. It's in a way that's very much non-rhythmic. It's very sporadic. Like it'll flicker. It's like a flickering that'll go in and out and then in for a little bit and seem to like get bigger, but then dim and reach out, go back again.
Elmorn? Is this what mallet space looks like?
But yeah, nobody else sees
Do I
that.
recognize this phenomenon?
Go ahead and give me an Arcana check.
Uh, 19.
Okay. That's good enough to get some information. It seems like something is trying to cross through. Like there's like in terms of your knowledge about planar boundaries, communication and teleportation across distances, this looks like something that is struggling to maybe come through. But there's interference or there's some kind of
My spell is up.
weakness in the magic.
My Mordenkainen's up. Nothing can come through. That's a 24-hour duration.
And this may be why it's struggling.
Well, perhaps we should move on. I think something's trying to get through here.
Yeah, let's go. This place isn't good anymore.
It's like since your voice has changed, you're kind of like that toddler that's just always sad.
Yeah, just the dullard of the group.
Yeah, I am still hearing Sylvester Stallone.
Adrian!
It's over, Rock. Nothing's over. So there's a city up there through the crack, but I don't really know how to get there without everyone turning into a gas. Unless there's another path that takes us the same way.
Well, with some creative use of action points, we could probably make everybody gas.
I was about to say I should probably spend action point or so to get some dark vision on everybody.
Yeah, I have a we did a long rest, so we should be rejuvenated.
Yeah.
I could, if it's okay, I could spend maybe an action point or two to cast a group gaseous form.
Yeah, for the cost of 2 action points, I'll allow that. Same thing with the dark vision.
Okay. So I'm gonna use a spell slot and 2 action points to I look at Ivar and Tacitus and Elmore. So I'm assuming it's with us. Like, we're gonna go to the surface now.
Hold on. Let me cast my. Let me make us able to see.
Technically, I think Petrie's with us too in Mallet Space.
Yes.
All right, we got eight hours
Petrie
of
has
dark
made a
vision.
home in Mallet Space. He's found a nice lichen girl.
It's real Romeo and Juliet type steel.
One of the things I don't like about the word lichen is that I was picturing like a quasi-plant fungus girl, and I was like,
That's
Lichen
exactly what I was meaning.
It's like, wait a second, lichen or lycanthrope?
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. Petrie needs a girl on his intellectual level.
Perhaps it's a lycanthropic lichen.
Ooh.
Oh man, that feels like a character and
Shape changing fungi.
or it's an adventure for my DM, the group IDM, where I will think it's incredibly funny, and when they eventually get to a field of just like little plants growing in the dirt, they won't think it's as funny.
All right, so Tacitus, go ahead and describe what it looks like as you cast your spell. with the enhancement of the action points.
Let's see here. Let's see what's involved with this spell. Oh yeah. I have to pull out from my component pouch some like that orange powder again, and normally I would just quickly infuse it and then throw it in somebody's eyes, but like I have to like hold on to it and like channel the magic in there for a moment, like really concentrate, and it like seems to almost magically become more than in what it is, you know, how much is normally there, and then and then get it in everybody's eyes, and then I take some and all right, let's do this. There's like just a slight glow, just the very slightest,
And then
and really nobody would see it unless they had like true sight or something like that, as it would glow with transmutation magic.
Mm-hmm. Does it make everybody look like they might be on spice?
Yeah, totally, definitely.
Nice. And then Martha, what does it look like when you cast your spell?
So Martha reaches out and like grabs both Tacitus and Ivar's wrists, and also somehow touches Elmorn in Mallet's face, and
Skulver.
and Skulver. Yeah, I can't forget about Skulver. And
I was wondering if you were going to bring him.
And we just start our bodies start just slowing away like one cloud at a time, and kind of turning into like a just a giant massive cloud. Martha's cloud is lavender because it's fabulous.
All right. So you guys are all kind of clouds now.
It's a cloud.
You see one cloud kind of freaking out a little bit. Skulber was not necessarily expecting this. So what do you guys do now that you're clouds?
So I will start making my way. We can't speak, but I will assume the plan was to head over to the crack that led up into the city again.
Yeah. We start. Martha's gonna start drifting towards Ivar's cloud, which I'm assuming we can tell whose cloud is whose.
Yes, because you have cloud vision.
Well, at least one, the smaller cloud, is moving away.
All right, so you guys follow Ivar up through the cracks leading up to the city above. Now at this time, it's just beginning to be dawn. So it's the early morning, but you can see as you come up, first of all, you notice that the buildings here are a bit different than the ones in the rest of Grey Wall. The buildings here seem to be a little bit more architecturally similar to the rest of the Five Nations. From what you've seen in Ironside and what you've seen at Korth, and from your travels to the various cities, these buildings seem to be a bit more sophisticated in their design. Many of them have actual glass windows rather than just open holes in the wall with shutters that can be opened and shut to kind of block air or whatever. Um, and the design seems to be more planful. Uh, so the roadways and the alleyways are kind of grid-like almost. Whereas the rest of the city that you've seen thus far has not been planned so well, where there are some buildings that are kind of bunched together, and then space, and then other buildings might be there in kind of a haphazard thing where they spring up as needed or as creatures decide to make a house there. You also noticed that despite the time of day, there seems to be a good amount of activity going on. People kind of running back and forth. Um, it's not in a chaotic manner. It seems to be fairly ordered. And you notice that many of the people running seem to have uniforms on.
All the same uniforms?
Yes.
Do they look like military attire, or do they seem more like school uniform type?
Are they monsters race or humanoid?
No, most of them are either human or half-orc, with some orcs and a couple of you might see like one or two elves, a gnome or a halfling, but a majority of them are either human or half-orc. Um, and then they all have a symbol on them. Let me find that symbol. They all have that symbol somewhere upon the uniform, usually on the chest somewhere or the shoulder.
Do we know what the symbol represents?
Does anybody have knowledge history?
I have a couple points in it.
Yeah, I'm not proficient in it, but I got high intelligence.
Is there anybody that's proficient in it?
I'm proficient in it.
All right. We'll
I
give
got
you a try first. You got a 17? All right. I will send out the info to you. Sent.
It's the symbol of the house, Thrask. Have to look to see what it said again.
Aren't you in gas cloud right now?
Yeah. I forgot about that. I was also trying to chase down the gnome that I saw. Like as soon as I saw a gnome, I was like, can't reach him. He's too fast.
Only time it's ever been said of a gnome ever.
So now that we're up here, I have no idea what the plan is. So my gas cloud is just kind of hanging out.
Well, I mean, it almost seems like we've made it to where we need to go. I'm gonna have a look around, I guess. How long does this spell last?
Dustin?
This spell lasts, I think like an hour. Let me double check. Yeah, 1 hour. Well,
Okay.
it's a concentration thing, so if
Sure.
I stop concentrating sooner, it'll dissipate.
Right, but if you guys want to take advantage while you're in the gas cloud to do other things, you can certainly do so.
That's why I was gonna say I'm gonna hope that you don't drop concentration, because I'm gonna start going up a little bit further to get a better view of the city. Maybe find some sort of administrative building or something that has humanoids coming from it.
Yeah. So as you climb up, you do see a building that seems to stick out and would probably be a good guess for you to head towards as somewhere to get your bearings. It definitely prominently displays the same symbol that you're seeing on others, and so that would probably be a good bet. But as you rise above the city, you realize you're getting a better view of the city than you even did before, because previously when you were flying above the city, it was at night. And it is giving you the impression that the city of Greywall is much larger than you had anticipated. And so it really does span a great distance across. And as you come up, you can kind of see very clear barriers between the different districts of Greywall, because each one has very clear distinctions in kind of their city planning and architecture. As you're rising up, you get too high to really see the details of necessarily the types of creatures that might inhabit those different districts. But one thing that does stick out is there's a lot of activity going on in one of the farther districts. There's a lot of smoke. There are many fires, and it really looks like something bad is happening. And actually, as you are looking, there's an explosion that takes place, and you see at one point several lightning bolts come from nowhere in the sky, striking down at a targeted spot, and it's like there based on your experience as a war wizard, this is definitely war magic that's being thrown around.
Alrighty. So can I tell if we're on the east side? Because it was the east side that we were told the humanoids, were at. And make sure this is indeed it. I know where north is.
And you can see the sun, so you know where east is as well. And you are definitely east of where all of this is taking place.
Alrighty. I'll float down, and before I get to them, I'll circle once or twice and start heading towards that building.
Can we take a break while I get something to drink?
Yep.
Sure.
We all need to learn the language of bees so that we can just do little dances.
The gas waggle dance?
Yes.
And learn how to emit pheromones while in gaseous form.
I mean, that's what the pink was, or the lavender.
Yeah. That's what we need to do, is just make each of our clouds a slightly different color so we can distinguish each other.
I'm also going to get something real quick.
The one thing about being a gas cloud is every time something gets described, my first reaction is what my character would say. It's well, can't do that. I guess I'll just float here then. There must be some kind of gas cloud sign language we can invent.
Clearly, we're gonna have
Like,
to.
form like a little square for yes, a little sphere for no. So how's your other game going? The one you run?
One of the players is like super busy, so we've had to postpone that game until he's not busy, and we're basically going to start up a short-term game without him. We'll be starting that on Sunday, actually. Should be interesting because they're all like there's 3 of them and they're level 2.
I got into trouble the last game I DM'd because unexpectedly it was only like we only had like 2 hours before the actually oddly the mistake I made was I wound up getting one player. I set up a bunch of stuff, but we only had 2 hours. So for some reason they kept directing everything towards this one particular plot line or this one particular set of actions that were really more geared towards the cleric. Because it was like, hey, let's go to court and let's talk to all these courtiers and try to set up a meeting with the king. And she's like the party face. So it was like 2 hours of her talking to people. And at the end, some of the other players were like, this was the most boring session I ever had. My character didn't have to do anything. I was like, hey, you could have, I then said, I like listed out, like, you could have done all these other things. Like, we didn't think of any of that.
They never do.
Right. It was like, but Ayumi kept talking, so her character kept saying like what she was going to do. How was I supposed to know you were getting bored?
Yeah, I mean, I remember giving my players. So basically, I knew my players at. This is another short-term game. There was only 2 players, and they were going to be going up against something that was like super powerful compared to them. So I gave them a couple of things, and one thing in particular that I expected to, I expected to be used. It was essentially it was a weirdly enchanted book that whoever touched it with their bare skin, they swapped bodies with somebody else. And so like whenever they encountered this person who I knew was going to be, really powerful compared to them, I made sure to have like a little minion standing there too. I'm like, perfect. And I figured, like, yeah, they just got it. Surely they would think of this. No. Instead, they fucking cast hold person on the thing, and it failed, and it kept failing, and they just obliterated the fucking thing. Like, well, all right, fine. You didn't need it. You still have it. Whatever.
The Bruce Force technique. Why didn't I think of that?
Oh, let's just paralyze it and just crit it till it's dead. And like,
Right, so
it was a battle. Yeah, it was a battle. I didn't feel like fudging the roll and making him save. It's because like it would have been pretty much impossible otherwise. So I figured, yeah, fuck it, I'll give it to him. It's working for him. So.
All right, so you guys are still gas. Tacitus saw some stuff.
Or are we like? Where are we? Are we somewhat hidden? Or are we out in the open? Where does this?
No, you're kind of out in the open. The crack looks like a rudimentary kind of sewer thing, drainage. So that's where you're coming from. So nobody's looking at you too weirdly, since gas rises from these things. Not all that uncommonly.
Hovers, waggles.
Yeah, that may be a little odd, but I mean, just in terms of passing glances, nobody has a reason to look too hard.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I imagined out of nowhere that we were like in an alley or something, I'm going to try to find at least an alley.
You can easily you see an alley pretty much right next to you guys, or there's one across the street. The city plan of this area is very much modernized, since this is very clearly the human quarter that you're in.
Yeah, and I was like up above, like circling to signal you. Come on, here we go. Just fly above everything, but fine.
Martha is gonna also. He sees Tacitus kind of floating above. He's just gonna kind of follow.
You don't know who that cloud is. It could be anyone.
Don't go trusting strange clouds.
You would say if you could talk.
Right.
Don't go chasing clouds.
That's what I'm thinking though. Some strange cloud comes along and tells you to follow him, and you just do.
What was it like in early days of the internet? It was like, don't talk to strangers online, and now it's use the internet to call strangers in their car to come pick you up, and then you pay them.
Yeah. or use the internet to summon people to try and sleep with them.
Yeah.
To invite them into your bedroom. Yeah.
What are the other clouds doing? It will affect if all the clouds are going in up into the air. Ivar would probably follow, but if it's just two clouds, I'm heading.
Yeah. Well, I mean, effectively, all the other clouds are just kind of going with the flow, so they'll go up too. So it seems like the majority is what Tacitus and Martha are doing.
So you see a cloud almost sigh, and then start to fly up too.
How does a cloud sighing look?
I imagine it's just a cloud that emits another smaller cloud.
It does what you see in the cartoons.
All right. So we see this war magic, or Tacitus saw this war magic shit. So I assume that when we come up, we also see this.
Yeah, it's continuing to go on.
I don't remember. Are people running from this, or is it just like lightning bolts, fires, and explosions, and there's no visible bodies?
Just because of the distance and the perspective, it's really hard to see around and between the buildings. I mean, you would have to go up really high in order to get that kind of view, and even then, the resolution would not be great to see that kind of detail.
Did you say it's kind of?
What's
Sorry,
that?
Go on.
So, but you can definitely see that there are explosions, magic of all sorts is being thrown around from time to time. Even though you are a great distance, you can hear like various creatures yelling out. It's hard to say if they are battle cries or cries of the mortally wounded. Probably a mix in there, because Drome is known for some very, very large, monstrous creatures that call this place home, and so it would not be it would not be a far-fetched idea that some of them might be involved in whatever is going on in some way. But the reaction of House Thrashk seems to be one of mobilizing a guard around the human quarter, and also maybe a few teams that seem to be readying to go in that direction as well.
Martha's purple or lavender cloud is he kind of goes a little bit away from it. And I think it starts going towards like is there like a rooftop nearby?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna float up to the top of the rooftop.
Okay.
And just kind of hover on this rooftop, so we can see and have the good overview, but stay out of the action.
Oh, the action is way far away. Like, there's no chance for it to hit you where you are.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Like I said, this is a very large city, very much larger than you would have imagined, especially given official reports of Grey Wall cite that it is most official kind of news about Grey Wall is that it's nothing more than a hovel of uncivilized monsters. But from what you are seeing, it's quite a bit more sophisticated than that, both in terms of the layout of the city, the expanse of the city, and the organization of the monsters that live there. I mean, likely if you shared the normal sentiments of others of the Five Nations, you would have expected that these were all just savage creatures. But clearly they are cooperating and working together in some sort of, as a society.
And it's hard to convey impression when you're a cloud, but Martha was impressed. So, yeah, I guess Martha still might go to the rooftop, even if it's far away. Like if everybody on the ground is being mobilized and kind of running all over the place, it wouldn't be a place that you'd want to seeing that we just got away from that, and we were trying to get away from these kind of crazy things and like being hunted. We wouldn't want to jump back into. He wouldn't want to jump back into the thick of it.
By my best estimation, can I tell if like where that's happening? Is it where we were before, or whenever we first teleported to the city?
Are you proficient in survival?
I think I am.
Well, you have
No,
the. Wait, what's that feat that you have? The keen mind?
Yeah.
All right, that's sufficient. With your keen mind, you're able to recognize enough of the city and put facts together based on the paths that you had traveled and where you had gone underground. That is very close to the area that you were, Tacitus, when you saw what you saw.
Sure. Okay. All right. Well, I'm just making my way as fast as I can to the thingy. So.
What thingy?
That building.
Oh, the official.
Yeah.
Like building. All right. You're still a guess?
I mean, until Marthal, makes it not so.
Okay. So you're heading in that direction. Ivar and Marthal, are you following?
Martha's already on top of the building.
Oh, you're on top
Oh,
of
to the
that
top.
building? Because
Oh.
the headquarters where House Thresh seems to be based.
Ivar is officially super confused and doesn't think it is very good being a cloud because we just can't communicate well.
Yeah.
One cloud is heading for a building, another cloud is the purple cloud, which at least that one I know who it is. So I'm not just following a strange cloud if I follow the purple one. Well, sort of a strange cloud. But yeah, I think these are two different buildings. You were just looking for like cover. He was looking for a government building or something.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I guess Martha would see Tacitus going towards like a building that looked like something, and probably be like, "All right, just migrate that way."
Okay. So you guys start. Ivor, you're following?
Yes.
Okay. There is a cloud that kind of follows behind, but at a much slower pace. You guys get to within probably 50 feet of the building, and then the spell wears out because you guys are very slow as clouds. And so all of the movement that you've been doing has been at a snail's pace, as it is.
I hope you were going to say that the cloud that was following us attacks and we can have like a slow motion dog fight.
where mist tries to hit each other.
Oh, missed opportunities.
Impaled.
Get it? Missed opportunities?
Yeah. All right. So you guys suddenly rematerialize into your bodies. The one that was trailing was Skullber, and he's like, and he books it. Like he takes off.
It's like, where are you going? I thought we were going to help you or something.
With your keen mind ability, you realize, oh, wait a minute. He never wanted to come anywhere near here in the first place.
Sure.
And so he is just running for his life right now.
I'd like to imagine is I missed Marthal casting the spell on him initially. So like I just didn't see it. It's like he just had a sudden change of heart before. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
So yeah, you guys approach the building, and you see one guard kind of posted outside, and you can tell just kind of based on the what is that?
Plastic bread that was under the table. I just like look down and there's some fucking plastic bread. I'm like, what the fuck?
Delicious.
Yeah.
So there's one guard there, but you know that normally you get a sense that normally there would be more guards. And actually, if you guys, all you guys do an insight check.
Oh, that's not good. I got a 5.
I got a 13.
I had a 4.
Jesus. All right. Hold on.
So now that we're not gas clouds anymore, what is this building we're headed towards?
Looks like an official's building. Whoever's in charge of this sector. People with that crest.
Actually, better question. Hey, Martha, why are we in Drome?
We're in Drome because we were to find Mordane the Flesh Weaver. Also, also to hope because hopefully one he can tell us more about the angel face creature and the plane of Zoriat because he has studied it more than any person alive. And also, I don't know if you remember, and I seem to have been real, in remission for some time, but I have something's very wrong with me.
Yeah, we know.
Remember, yes. No longer care about Bourdain.
So I
Is
sent you
Ivar
guys
still riding
emails.
on my back?
What's that?
I was wondering if Ivar. I mean, Ivar's got his feet at least, so I was curious if he was still on my, or if he was going to get back on my back.
Ivor?
No, since this guard is clearly intimidated by my presence, I don't want to ruin that by having someone carry me around. I will strut around.
Yeah, I sent you guys emails on your impressions from the inside check.
Yep. This is at like the front door, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't have any like major weapons on me. I just like a couple of daggers and like a quarterstaff on my back, so I just approach.
Yeah, he's
We're
got
friendly.
a halberd that he is kind of holding up. And so as you approach, he says, "Halt. Identify yourselves and your business here."
Hands up. We are friends. I am Tacitus. These are companions. Marthau and Ivar and some others. They're occasionally invisible.
Nice to meet you.
You got a problem?
What?
Nice to meet you.
He said nice, not knife. Nice.
Yeah, nice to meet you. I'm Marthau.
All right.
I like reach out for a handshake.
And he's like, "Hey, gods, what happened to your hands?"
It is very complicated. Probably best we speak to your superiors.
Or we could talk over a beer. And we could tell you all about it.
We're in the meat locker.
He looks at you and he says, "So you wish to speak with?" Hold on one second. So you wish to speak with Lord Kundaran?
Sounds good to me.
Is he a direct superior?
He is the leader here of this Thrash conclave, but he is quite busy right now. I suggest you go return to your homes or whatever business you have and perhaps do your best to hide or flee from this place.
Hide or flee.
What's going on? What was these explosions?
We do not know, but it is for now contained in what is it? Where is it? I know I saw it around here somewhere.
That tower that we came from, that was called the Tower of the 12. Is that right?
Yep.
Yes. Oh, right now it is contained in the Bloodstone district, but it is, from reports that I've heard, it is not looking good. I suggest that you seek shelter.
Now listen here. We've come from the Tower of the 12 and we're here on business. Now out of our way.
Yeah, our teleportation
will-
mishapped.
Again,
I think we came from over there.
He lowers his halberd at the menacing gnome, and says, "Stay back, you malformed nuisance." Now,
he's harmless.
I don't know what you speak of with this Tower of the 12 or what official business you have, but right now is not a good time unless you have some means or some unless you have some edict from Zorchiklik himself. You are not going to pass this gate.
How do you feel about that guy?
He looks at you seriously, and actually he kind of lowers his halberd and says, "To be honest, he makes my skin crawl."
Well, he probably should, but he's looking for us for unfortunate reasons.
What do you mean?
Listen, where's your healer? How about that? We'll take it from there.
Our healer is right now indisposed. And not that we would give you access to them just because. Now, what is this? What is this that you were saying that Zorchiklik is looking for you?
I think he wants to talk to us, but so I mean, you might be able to say we're kind of a big deal right now. So let us see your healers.
For what
Still hands
purpose
up,
would you need to see our healers?
Look at my face. Look at my hands.
Tentacles at him again.
Look at us.
This one's in a training montage, and this one is about to squirt ink at people. So come on.
Start beating some meat. I don't think
With reverse hands, it's like it's somebody else completely different. It's the stranger.
Oh my god.
The possibilities, man. You might want to keep one like that.
God damn it. Tacitus, give me a persuasion roll.
I'm not very persuasive, guys, just so you knows. -1. I put charisma as my dump stat, so. Ooh, 4.
He's not persuaded. He just kind of reinforces. Unless you are more specific about your business with Zorchiklik and why he is interested in you, you are not going to get past me at my post, not to see our healers and not to see Lord Kundaran.
So does this? So when people were running around all over the place, was there any kind of? Could I pick out any kind of rank, and like everybody had the insignia on it, but was there like a determined like kind of different class system I could see in terms of that might indicate some sort of rank? Like were there like different length sleeves, or were there like different colored epaulets or something?
I mean, Martha, you don't have any military experience, correct? You were more of a kind of a guard, a caravan guard in a sense with Orion.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
But presumably you kind of you'd be around and you would run into various military you'd run into armies here and there, especially if you're like caravanning things to them. So it would make sense that you would have some general knowledge of like what to look for. You wouldn't be like, know that this person is the captain of the guard or the lieutenant, but you would know that one might be higher than the other.
Give me an intelligence check.
12.
You can definitely see differences in the symbols that, or in kind of like the positioning of the house crest, and there are others, some kind of ancillary things that they're wearing that differentiate rank. However, you're not necessarily familiar enough with this specific organization to be able to tell if one means higher or lower rank, or their relative standing within this organization, especially since this is really the first time you're encountering House Thrashk, I imagine.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
So it's hard for you to have a context to relate it, because you might have seen a couple of different symbols or like regalia, but to know how they relate to one another, you don't have the basis to make a guess like that.
Okay.
I turn to Marthal and point to the guard and say, "Run upon farms, Evan, ending his impolite machinations." And then get really upset when he doesn't understand.
I'll just look at these, look at him spew out something. Like, what? And I just get agitated and just say to these people, listen, I did not survive the destruction of my homeland to be held up by a couple of piss ants outside of a guard station. Where are your healers?
Once again, you have not given me any cause to let you in the door. For all I know, you mean to do this house harm.
Oh, trust me, if I would have wanted to do that, it would have been done already. I've been nothing but cordial. Hands where you could see them, not upon any weapon.
So, Martha kind of, he just kind of says, "Well, we're not here. We're not here to do anybody harm. Would you please show us to the healers? I think it would be a good idea." And as he does that, he's casting suggestion.
Subtly, I hope.
Are you using careful spell?
Yes.
Subtle.
He rolled 6.
Yeah. No dice.
So describe how that works, and you can also describe how his reaction changes.
So, I've always thought of suggestion as kind of like a calming feeling, kind of like when you're drinking like a nice hot cup of tea, and like it just kind of soothes you. So Martha, despite his still kind of disformed mouth and hands, like at some point he's like, "Hey now," and it kind of brings the guard's moods down. He's calmed down, and what Martha says is, "You should bring us. We don't mean no harm. Please take us to the healers. It would be a good idea." It really resonates with him, and it sounds very agreeable. And he's in a calm state of mind because he was so scared before. that this sounds like a good course of action. So he's really just feeling like he's on cloud zen.
Okay.
And, yeah.
He kind of visibly relaxes his guard, and he looks at you guys and says, "My apologies. Things are not good right now. This threat that is encroaching upon Bloodstone, it is terrible. So our resources are stretched thin right now, but let me show you to our healer. We only have one right now. The others are working with Zorchiklik to address the issue at hand with this threat." So he turns, he pulls out a key that unlocks the gate, and then opens it up. And then he walks inside, gesturing for you to follow. You guys go in, and he leads you to a room where there's a couple of sick people. It's clearly the infirmary. It can hold a lot more, but there's only like one or two people in there that are currently being treated. There's a couple of assistants that are there, and one very young-faced individual that seems to be one second. He's got a symbol of Boldray that he wears.
A Boldray?
Boldray, who is a god of the sovereign host. He is the sovereign of Hall and Hearth. And so he, when he sees the guard enter, bringing you forth, he says, "Zachariah, what is this that you bring?" "Denard, these people have graciously asked for your services." And he says, "But I'm barely a fledgling healer right now. I don't know what I could do for these people." And then he actually sees you. He sees the gnome with the tentacles, and he goes, "By the host, what is wrong with you?"
That's some great bedside manner there.
We had a run-in with some sort of creature that causes you to change form and be warped. And unfortunately, it affected me and my friend here with the backwards hands. And the
muffled mouth.
Yeah.
So he turns his attention to Martha and says, "Oh my God, your hands!"
Martha, pleased to meet you.
He normally doesn't sound that dumb. Close, but not quite that dumb.
Yeah.
Normally, I'm pretty intelligent, you know.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. So Zachariah asks, can you help at all?" And the healer, he grabs his holy symbol of Boldray and says, I can certainly try, but don't think I have the energy for both. I could perhaps help one, but
That's
anything
okay.
else.
You can help me for now, and then I'm sure it'll work out for him in the long run.
Martha, how do you respond to that?
Silence equals consent, I say, stepping forward.
So hearing this, Martha reaches into his pack the best he can, and he pulls out the Freetook's wand, and he says, "This is something that I have that I'll let you borrow to help us both out. It should amplify your abilities just a little bit and give you the boost of healing energy you need. But I expect it back as soon as we're healed. Or as soon as you're not able to heal us. Or I'll kill you myself."
He takes it and he looks at it and says, "Oh, this is an amazing piece of work. Clearly from House Jarasco. How did you end up with something like this?"
That's not important, but I found it.
Well, unfortunately, while this is a fairly powerful item in the right hands, I do not think that it would help with your specific ailments. This is for repairing injury to flesh, healing wounds, undoing bruises, setting bones. This is not something that can transmute you to return to what you are clearly dealing with right now.
I thought used to heal lines and I thought used to heal spiritual ailments as well in the past.
This is not an ailment of the spirits. What you are afflicted with is some other manner of... Oh, the only word that I can think of is curse.
Okay, so then I take that wand back and I put it back in my... Well, do you have anybody here that knows about curses? Are you the curse master?
I am but a humble servant of Boldray. I have some ability to mitigate the harmful magics that you have suffered. At least I think I can try. But ultimately, as I said, my limitations are not able to manage to heal both of you of your afflictions.
So I'm going to take him by the hand and pull him aside for a bit and say, "Look, if you can, it would be great if you could fix my arms. And then I also have this extra eye socket."
He's like, "Oh my God, what has happened to you, young gnome?"
You see, my employers keep running into things that like to inflict body horrors on me.
Hey, tell me, do you have any Atiug larvae?
What? Why would you ask such a thing?
Listen, they have some uses. You just have to be very precise with them.
We do not keep anything of the sort here.
Yeah.
None of my training has led me to suggest any properties of healing of Otyugs. If anything, they carry disease and associate with vermin.
Well, the big guy over there, his legs, believe it or not, were entirely reversed. But he was fixed.
Well, as amazing as that is and would be had I had access to such a thing, we do not carry anything of that nature here.
No, in wartime situations, probably something you should consider.
Well, especially as you've got this Citadel thing running around underneath the city.
Yeah.
I do not know what words you speak.
You don't know about the Celatar?
It's some sort of ancient monster that the goblins use to fight a war against flesh warpers.
Well, that is a wonderful piece of trivia. I fail to understand how it pertains to our current conversation.
We met the Celatar, you idiot.
This is the creature that caused us at least our most recent bits of body horror. And apparently having an audio log inside you, transforming you into an audio, also helped to reverse the malformations that the Citadel caused.
So it's all relevant. We're not just talking out of our asses here.
Oh, okay. So, regardless, you're saying that something did this to you.
Yeah.
You are looking for me to help undo it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can definitely do my best to attempt to help you. However, as I said, my limits and my training will not allow me the energy to summon enough to help both of you.
Fine. You can do Ivar first, and then we'll wait around till you're ready, and then we can do me.
Zachariah looks to you and says, "Wait around. How long do you intend to stay here?"
I intend to stay here until I no longer talk like this. Until I'm
You are-
dead.
I could take a piss without going to the side.
Look, I agreed to allow you to come here to seek treatment, but I can't allow you to remain here.
I mean, aren't there like beds here for wounded and for people that need treatment? So wouldn't I have a place on a bed?
Yes, for House Thresh. It is against protocol to let strangers in here. Why did I let you in here?
So anyway, Doc, let's get to the casting on me. Well, he works out whatever his problem is.
Yeah, I'll distract him. I'll just like put my arm around his shoulders, like, and just like walk him away. It's like, so tell me, what do you know about what's going on out there?
All right. So as you do that, you guys are in agreement for Ivar to receive the treatment.
Yeah.
It's not up to me, so.
All right. So the young cleric looks confused, but accepts the challenge ahead of him. He begins whispering prayers to Boldre to grant him strength to eliminate the affliction set upon Ivar, and he begins kind of rubbing his hands together slowly at first, and then rhythmically picking up speed.
Okay, Mr. Miyagi.
and as he does that, there is a glow that begins to surround him.
The spell requires I deliver this with a kick.
So Yeah, in the interest of fun, let's take that to its natural conclusion. So he does do this. The energy from his hands travels down to his foot. He kicks Ivor solidly in the chest, and Ivor flies back into the wall, bringing a very confused look from Tacitus and the guard. But when Ivor pushes himself up, his arms have returned to normal.
Yes.
And with that, the young cleric collapses to his knees and is breathing heavily and pouring with sweat.
So where's
There also, as he delivered that kick, there may have been a "Hya!"
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
So
Well,
I'm sort of rubbing my jaw and be like, yeah, good work, I guess. I don't know how you heal people normally, but I would hope it's not all quite as violent as that. Where's the guard now? Where's Tacitus taking the guard?
Like back towards the front door, basically. I will grill him for whatever information he has, but
Give me another persuasion check.
okay. Let's see here. Let's see what my big -1 will get me. 3 this time.
So he just basically reemphasizes the same things that he's been saying, that they're mobilizing, that they're trying to deal with the threat. They don't really know what the threat is, but it seems to be big.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a cause for concern.
And
he also once again recommends that you seek shelter, because personally things are not looking good.
And where would he suggest I seek shelter?
Either some kind of underground cavern where you can hide, or run as far as you can from the city.
Those are both very unhelpful options.
I would just tell him. If the suggestion comes to you to run, don't go underground. My friends in there, they were underground when that happened to them.
Something below.
Yeah. Don't go under there. I promise you it will not end well.
Are there Kyber caverns down below?
Well, there are what now?
Kyber caverns down below? Kyber is Eberron's version of the Underdark.
No. I don't know. Do I know where it was? I don't think I was that far down.
It wasn't deep enough to cross into Kyber.
Yeah. I mean, there may be some entrance down there somewhere, but we were not far enough down for it to be there. This is a friendly reminder from me to you. Don't go underground. It is arguably more deadly.
I've heard stories and rumors, but I thought that was all that they were. Something to scare us human folk from straying too far from the light.
This whole damn city is out to kill us.
That is definitely an accurate statement.
Where are there any other dragon marked houses around?
No, not here in Greywall. The the daughters of Sorakel been very cautious about the entities they allow to do work here in their sovereign under their sovereignty.
Do I know what what was the name of the person that we came here to try and find again?
Mordain the Flesh Weaver.
I'll just mention casually before I leave him back at the front door. It's like, do you know a Mordain?
That is not a name that rings familiar to me.
All right, then. Don't worry about it. Have a good day. I'll go back inside. And close the door.
You can see just as you're closing the door, he's like going.
Nope. And I'll just go back to them.
Give me an insight check.
Me?
Yes.
Let's see. What's my insight? +1. Hey, all right. Not great at those either. Let's do this one. 3. I'm all about those 3s and 4s today.
Do you want to use an action point?
Nah.
Okay. Everything's fine.
Yeah. We're good. Look, I know we're under limited time here right now, so.
You head back to the infirmary where Ivar and Martha are. Ivar and Martha, were you guys doing anything while Tacitus was away?
Yeah, I was going to go talk to the priest and
Okay.
say, my friend here, he's in the building, right? So obviously he's someone important. The guard doesn't really know who he is. He just escorted us here. He's probably going to try to throw him out. But listen, the whole reason we ran into the Scythian in the first place was that we were helping all of the trouble that's going on in the city and the explosions and the lightning bolts. We were there, ground zero, helping to battle monsters. And we were ordered to go underground chasing this Scythian, and it wound up warping his body like this and warping my body like you just cured. So if you could just find him a quiet little place where the guard won't trouble him and he can rest until you're like back to full strength again, and then come and heal his wounds, that'd be great.
You said a lot of words. They sound good. Give me a persuasion roll, and you can roll with advantage.
Could I make a deception roll instead?
Yes, you can. Actually, yeah, that would probably be the better one.
I guess actually. Go ahead. Sorry.
Do I get advantage on the deception roll? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That would be a 22.
Oh, he's buying it hook, line, and sinker. No doubt about it. He's like, oh, you must be looking for Lord Kundran then.
Oh yeah, I mean he'll need to like debrief us and all we've seen and all, but for like right now we're really tired because we just got done fighting like all night long.
Absolutely. I mean, I can see the wounds that you've sustained in this affliction is something I've never seen before. Come, let me show you the way. So he leads you through, twisting, turning corridors, and then eventually you enter a large room with some what seem to be marble columns, pretty ornate room with a large table in the center with a map that seems to be almost like a scale model of Greywall. And the most of the model is kind of roughly done. The largest chunk of the model and where the most detail is in the human quarter, Calabas. And so you see hunched over is a large half-orc male. This is his picture. Hold on, let me. This is him. He is older for a half orc, but he is definitely built and continues to move like somebody that is a force to be reckoned with. But unlike many half orcs that you may have encountered, there is a depth and a wisdom in his eyes that indicate he's more than a powerful and intimidating physical foe, but one that may also be strategic and able to mentally outclass an opponent.
Sounds like a half orc in my game.
So he is standing with another henchman of some sort, and as you guys enter, he looks up at each of you and he stares daggers into the healer. The healer begins to respond, "Pardon me, Lord Kund," and he's like, he just waves a hand, and the look, you can see the cleric like nearly just crumble under just the intensity of that stare, and his face instantly turns white, even paler than it is with the exhaustion that he suffered from healing Ivar, and he simply bows and backs out of the room. He places both arms behind his back and calmly walks over to you with his cloak kind of billowing with each step. And actually, each of you give me an insight check.
You know, I'm not that good at these. Hey, all right.
I got a 19.
Huh?
I got a 19.
No, sorry, 18.
I got a 24.
Wow. So he brings that stare into you, and for you know, perhaps it's the recent battle that you had with the Silithar, or perhaps it's some other mental reserve that you're able to bring up. But that, although that stare is intense and you understand how a weaker mind could crumble under it, it doesn't have quite the same impact on you. It does startle you in terms of its power, and it does make you understand the kind of power and strength that simmers beneath the surface of this individual, and makes you respect his presence. Had you failed that, each of you would be frightened at the moment. And so as he's walking, he is very calm, collected, confident, and he says, "Who are you, and why should I not kill you right now for entering my sanctum?"
I'll make a quick note. While we were on our way to this place, I probably, recognizing the rather militaristic way this place is ran, probably would have pulled out my old insignia, my war insignia, and applied it to my armor so that it is visible.
Who did you fight for? You were for Sire, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So
we never
you
did.
guys
We never did determine what rank I ever reached.
that's fine.
That, but
I mean, Sire is one of those countries where it kind of, regardless of your rank, people either respect you because Sire was an interesting nation during the last war in terms of their capabilities. But it's people either have respect for you or pity you. Usually, those are the two most common reactions that you get. You have a sense that nothing really escapes Lord Kundran's eyes, so he almost certainly recognizes it and notices it. But if it has any impact at all on how he approaches you, at the moment you don't notice it.
sure.
We have come from the Tower of the 12 in search of Mordain Fleshweaver. We got waylaid after a mishap happened while we were teleporting here, and needless to say, we've been kind of hunted by the beasts for a little while. So we finally got here where we're little beasts. Your young cleric did a great job by helping Ivar. You can see he doesn't have tentacles or hands anymore. I'm not so lucky. So you shouldn't kill us, for one, because we have an important mission to do. For two, maybe we could help you out.
So, unlike most half-orcs that you might have encountered, and one that definitely comes to mind is Gronk Uski. At least Marthau is aware of Gronk Uski.
Was Fingersnap a half orc?
Definitely was.
Yes, Fingersnap was. This beast of a man before you, because he is quite large, heavily muscled, despite his age, it does not appear to have any impact on his physical capacities. But his mentality and patience is much more like that of Fingersnap. In that, despite the fact that this is clearly a warrior, he is hearing you out, and he considers your words carefully, and he says two things in a manner that's fairly succinct. First, your concerns and your so-called mission is no concern of mine. Nobody notified me from House Threshk leadership of any sort of mission, whatever that may mean. Secondly, I failed to see how you might be able to help me. And so, if you do not immediately speak what supposed help you might offer, your lives very well may be in danger of being cut short.
For one, I don't take kindly to such threats, and neither do my companions. I'm sure you haven't heard of much of our escapades down here, and that's fine. And I won't bore you with the details. But if you were decided to try to cut our lives short, I think you would find yourself hard pressed and even fail in the task. For two, despite we are formidable warriors, we can help fight in whatever our capacities may be, as well as provide guidance, counsel, and wisdom. You don't have to. Doesn't take very much imagination to figure out how we can help you out. And for 3, have you ever heard of Mordain Fleshweaver? Because that's who we're looking for. And we hear that he's come down here to these parts and has been here for some time.
He takes a deep breath in. Do not confuse my patience and willingness to listen as an acceptance of any of the words that you speak. By your current actions, all you have demonstrated is that you are capable of subterfuge in that you have broken into my enclave, and you have done so when we are at our lowest point in terms of personnel, as we are stretched thin with an enemy that we are facing. I am currently concerned with the protection of this district of Greywall. I do not have time for outside concerns or the so-called mission that you seek to complete. Now, you have also not demonstrated any physical capabilities that might be valued in my current endeavors. You waste my time, and that is valuable in terms of managing this conflict with which I am currently dealing. And so you must choose your words very carefully, because I am quickly getting to the edge of my willingness to listen. And should I come to that point, you will no longer be able to draw breath. Now, take that as a threat if you will. It absolutely is. And it is one that I am quite capable of following through. Now, choose your words carefully.
I cast Firebolt on him.
Do you really?
Yeah, he wants to fucking display. I'll give him a goddamn display.
And then I'll cast Reduce.
I was trying to save a spell slot, but
Okay.
I'd say, if I might, sir, and to just launch the Firebolt.
All right, we're gonna go into initiative. All right. He has rolled a 1. So I imagine everybody goes before him.
Not by much. I can't roll shit tonight.
All right. So since you guys are clearly going to go first, you can determine the course that you take.
Well, I almost certainly would not go until I see the firebolt go. So I rolled higher than Tacitus, but I will delay until after I see him shoot something.
Sure.
I might even be surprised, in fact.
All right.
Basically,
hold on one second, because I did not plan for you guys to actually engage this guy in battle. silly me.
Well, for the record, my plan is to shoot 2 arrows that come really close to, but definitely miss him. Like, one under each arm.
Yeah, essentially.
Just to demonstrate that we're dangerous.
Yeah. If I hit him, it's fine. I'm sure he could take it. But like, it's basically throw the firebolt and then hands up. Like,
where's there?
Also, I want to point out, I'm just an employee. I'll be right back.
Okay.
So you just let me know when I make my attack roll, and then we'll go from there.
I would also be right back.
God damn it. Alright, I'm sorry, guys. Of course, you guys would fight this dude.
I have no intention of like going through a whole fight with the guy.
Well, that may not be your intention, but that may be what happens.
I considered like lightning lure, but I'm like, nah, it's strength based. There's no way he's not gonna save from that.
Fair point.
Of course, he rolled a 1 apparently, so he might have failed on this first roll at least. So things are, you never know.
Is he dead?
He's still doing a quick stat
Right.
out, I think so.
Fuck it. We'll do it live. Do it live. All right. I'm just gonna figure out. All right. EC. Um. Okay. I think that's all I need. All right. Give me your attack roll, Tony.
All right, I gotta pick a dice here, and hopefully, I don't know what it's gonna roll. We'll see. I'll just roll this one. I've been rolling shit all day, or all night, whatever. 15.
So he, with his arms still behind his back, reacts faster than you can throw your bolt and ducks under it and sidesteps. Hands still behind his back, unimpressed. Ivar, Martha, whoever wants to go can go.
All right, I'm going to shoot 2 arrows again, trying to get like one just at each armpit, but without actually hitting him.
Okay.
That's good.
If your intention is not to hit him, just kind of to make him think that you could hit him, that would be more of a deception check.
Okay, it would. Do I roll twice or once? Once for each arrow.
No, we'll do it. We'll do just one roll.
That's a 24.
Okay. So he definitely, at least as far as you can tell, your arrows fire in a manner that display your potential skill.
And then I'm going to march forward and stand just 5 feet in front of him, easy target, with my like arms down, no effort to defend myself.
Okay. And then Martha.
Martha's still gonna cast reduce.
Okay. Are you doing careful spell?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a con save.
Or a subtle spell.
The accidental combat death insurance lark in McCormick's Folly.
not as comprehensive as one might like. He fails. He does begin to diminish in size, but it doesn't seem to faze him in the slightest in terms of intimidating him. Then he immediately, because both Tacitus and Ivar have failed to really do anything other than a display of force, since Martha was the only one that impacted him, and because he's a spellcaster, which makes him more of a target anyways. He does something that allows him to sidestep away from Ivar, runs quickly, closes his distance between himself and Marthau, and in a flash of quickness, unleashes 3 attacks against Marthau. So I have 3 dice. One is a natural 20. Then the others are a non-natural 20 and a 26. So
Hey,
that's
at least
3.
all damage is reduced by a D4.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm going to lift up the bow and pull back, and another black smoky arrow will form, and then ink will start to drip and disappear in the air and shoot and deflect some of the damage.
And
Let's say from the crit.
actually, I'm gonna use my bend luck as a reaction to reduce that natural 20.
You can't reduce a natural 20 because it's a natural 20. You can reduce one of the other ones if you want.
Is that
because is bend luck a reroll, or is it that you reduce it by a dice?
You reduce it by a dice.
You can't do that with a natural 20.
Oh, okay.
But you could do that with one of the other ones.
What are the other ones?
20 and 26.
20 and 26?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it with the 20. Well, it wouldn't matter anyway. So
okay.
I'll just save it.
All right, so chance for critical is a 23. So it's a confirmed critical, rolling on the percentile. $41. So you're immobilized until the end of Lord Kundaran's next turn. And then, so you take double max damage from the critical hit, minus a d4, minus 1. So
-3 because I'm blocking part of it with my arrow, deflecting the shot.
3. So then -4 total, right?
Mm-hmm.
Double max damage. $72 minus 4. 68. So you take, in the first attack, you take 68 points of damage.
Which drops me to 0.
Okay, so then the next attacks are going to hit your vitality points then, because you can't take more than your vitality once you get down to 0.
Mm-hmm.
And so then with the other 2 attacks, minus the 8, 13, 23. 23 minus 1, 22 points of damage there.
That drops my vitality points to 0.
Okay. So you are instantly knocked out cold. I'm not gonna say that it kills you, but it seriously hurts you. Like,
Yeah. He just gets hit and he's out.
yeah. So since 2 of those attacks caused him to go down, he's gonna then come back around to Tacitus and use one of those attacks against him.
Sure.
Does a 16 hit you?
Sure does not.
So somehow you're able to deflect his. It looks to be a great sword.
Oh.
It looks to be a great sword, but he's wielding it deftly with one hand.
Sure. I do his maneuver whenever he dodged my my firebolt.
All right.
Come on, stop trying to hit me and hit me.
So we're at the top of the next round. What are you guys doing?
You impressed yet? Oh man.
No.
So at that he does kind of chuckle and just sneer.
I mean, if we're going in initiative order, I think Ivar was up next then.
Okay. I still not gonna try to attack him, but I will say, look, if nothing else, we can be cannon fodder for whatever it is you're fighting. And by the way, we know information about a monster that's living underneath the human quarter of this city. One that deformed a guy you just killed and me, but your priest healed me. Are there other people in this room, or is it really just the general and everyone else is just like, yeah, we don't even need to bother?
Yeah, it's just the general. I mean, he did have a henchman at the table, but he's just watching because, you know, fine. So as Ivar, as you are talking, there's a sudden shadow that just kind of appears in between all of you. And then you realize that the shadow is not a shadow, but something with inky black skin with tentacles hanging from its face.
Shit.
Well,
I was trying to. Well, I did my best.
Ivar, Tacitus, and Martha, each of you give me a wisdom saving throw.
I mean, I'm at 0 everything. I mean, I would be giving death saves at this point. Did I really give a wisdom saving throw?
Yes.
Doesn't just automatically succeed?
As DM Fiat, we're treating this more like you're kind of you've been wounded, but he did so in a way that was more humiliating, and you're kind of like that guy that just got punched by the Hulk, but rather than like actually flying across the room, it was kind of like more of a finger snap, and you're just like.
Oh, okay.
I got an 18.
Okay.
I got a natural 1, so I'm just going to use action point to reroll that.
Okay.
Oh, fucking finally a good roll. Jesus. 21.
And I have an
Okay.
18.
All right, so each of you have a sense that the creature that just appeared in front of you has quickly ruined through your thoughts. You feel its presence in your mind, but you don't know what it has done there. And then the Lord Kundran puts his sword away and almost snarls, Zorchiklik. I thought we had an agreement that you would not just traverse into my enclave. Also, given the fortuitous timing of your arrival, my guess would be that you have been watching this room. I thought that our agreement was I thought that we agreed that you would leave this outside your purview and that we would have privacy. Zorchiklik kind of waves his hand and says, we do not have time to discuss this. Matters are at hand that are vastly more important. And these three, they will serve me well.
Cut to us, and I'm going into Marthal's bag to try and get that wand out. It's like, where's the fucking wand at?
Did we get that back from the priest?
What?
I don't. Yeah, he couldn't use it, so
Yeah, he gave it back. Martha took it back.
can I use this wand? Or do I have to attune to it?
I think
It does.
Yeah, it doesn't require attunement.
Yeah, that was an oversight on my part.
I'd like to wave it at Marthal.
So with the wand, the way that you can use it, you can spend your own hit dice to heal somebody as an action. With those hit dice.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
My hit dice aren't very impressive.
Yeah. But anyways, so Zorchiklik motions to you and says that you three would be of great service to him. And then he also says, especially considering the debt that you owe for the death of my baron.
We killed nobody.
I know. But the rest of Raywall believes that you have.
So tell him we did.
Appearances must be kept up. Savages do not accept deception. They accept blood. They accept strength.
I mean, it has been my experience so far that savages are rather dumb. I think you can deceive them without them even knowing.
Regardless, you will serve me.
I mean, we have our own purpose here. We're dealing with this fucker. This
Midway through your speech, you guys feel a sudden pressure within your brains. Each of you give me a wisdom saving throw.
Spend an action point on that.
Okay, let me see here right quick.
13.
I spent an action point to get a 3. If I could take If I could take the better roll, then I could spend an action point to get and still got a 5.
Wisdom saving throw, you said?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to use my arcane deflection to give myself a total +8. Come on, you little shit. 17.
Just shy. 11 plus 8. You would need it in 19. So everybody has been placed upon a kind of psychic Gaius.
Gesh?
Is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah, in Gaelic it's Gesh.
Yeah.
Oh, Gesh.
Yes. Oh, but Gesh, yeah.
So
Just like it's not Shillalog, it's Shillelagh.
Midway through, you feel that pressure in your brains. In fact, each of you begins suffering some kind of nosebleed or ear bleed of some sort. And he says, like I said, it matters not. You will be my tools. Your experience, information, and skills are useful in the current situation.
You hear that, Kundarar?
You impressed yet, you bastard?
Oh, I personally thought it was a better offer than being killed by this guy.
Who's now at full height again because fucking Marthal got knocked out.
Yeah, he shrunk for a minute, ducked under, swipe.
He shrunk for like 3 seconds and went over, boom, boom, and then brutal.
I was just about to get you too.
I think, Martha, you probably could have survived that barrage if it weren't for the critical and confirmed critical.
Probably. I mean, well, you rolled a critical, a 26, and a 20. Like, even if I reduced that, like, it still would have been above my armor class, so it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could use an action point to make you re-roll the critical. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, but don't you have you could have used your
Warp reality too.
You could have used warp reality, or you could have used don't you still have the belt of misdirection?
No, I have that, which is why I march forward and standing right in front of him. Looking down on me, I switch places with either him or his assistant.
So yeah, now you guys are Gaiused under the machinations of Zorchiklik. And you also now have kind of a taste of the tension that exists between Zorchiklik and Lord Kundaran. And I think that's a good place to leave it for tonight. Well, and then what did everybody think about tonight? Oh, and by the way, I gave in my quick scribblings about this guy, I gave him 3 superiority dice that he did not have a chance to use either. So
I figured Battlemaster for sure. So
yeah,
because that was the like I said, this guy reminds me of an orc I have in my game, and it's definitely Battlemaster. Battlemaster that travels around with a assassin rogue, basically.
Ooh, that's a nice combo.
It really is, especially whenever you have that commander strike. Get them to do a fucking sneak attack on somebody else's turn.
I guess since we're, I guess the fight's over. I will say this, looking at Tacitus. It's, hey, keen mind, study the map.
Quiet with their gnomish words.
So what did you guys think about this session?
I liked it. I mean, I think it was sort of weird when we had the part where we were all turned ourselves to gas because it's like we couldn't interact. We just were sort of flying around randomly. But we did that. So.
Yeah, I didn't know how I could. I mean, you guys used it well in terms of getting an understanding of what's happening.
Right.
Yeah, it saved us like trying to dig through or find a cavern or up slippery slopes or whatever other things that I usually fail athletics checks on.
Wasn't it in like when you guys were first entering Fort Deep Dark? Didn't you be the only one that fell?
I was the only one that fell, and as we were leaving, like I fell like every check the way up. So
I wasn't, and Ivar wasn't entirely sure why we were coming to the government building. Like he was glad when we found the healer. I was rather hoping we would not have to meet Lord Kundaran. It turns out my instinct was correct.
I mean, you guys, you could have, handled it. I mean, just the way that you were approaching him, he didn't really respond well to it because you guys are saying a lot of words, but they were words that you guys are strangers to him. He has no reason to really trust, believe. All that you've demonstrated is that you were willing to break into his establishment without, and kind of buck.
This is why I was a little hesitant to meet Lord Kundaran, because we don't really have anything for him. The best we could have done was what I think Ivar said, like we were here to report that there's a monster underneath this quarter of the city. And even that monster has apparently been here for thousands of years, so he's probably not coming up anytime soon.
Right. That wouldn't have been a bad thing if he weren't clearly dealing with something a little bit more immediate.
Right. Well, but I was kind of thinking you spin the monster under the city so that it's not that is.
Yeah. It's like and Tacitus was like, throw a fireball. I'm like, all right. I mean, I was thinking it.
I was originally going to do hold person on him. I'm like, then I have to use a spell slot. A little firebolt. It's going to hit him maybe, and it's not going to kill him for sure. And like, I figured maybe he'll kind of respect. Oh, okay, got it. You guys got something going on. Cool.
Yeah.
But I missed.
Even when the fight started, I was thinking our best shot is to talk this out.
I was thinking that too, honestly. My firebolt was just a display.
I was kind of hoping that, like, the reduce would happen, and you'd be like, you could help. You could do something out there, make at least help crowd control some beasts or something.
Right, but at the same time, Tacitus saw the levels of battle magic that were already being thrown around. So, display of a little bit of a reduce.
Yeah, I mean, I have no fault with how he reacted to it. Because you can go the other way on the firebolt. Like, yeah, okay, maybe it hits him and he realizes, okay, well, they have some skill. But he also might think, yeah, okay, they have the bare minimum skill.
Right, and that's kind of what I was thinking with fireball. I was like, maybe reduce something. And
from the strength of it, I gather he's at least 5th level. Or it depends on what damage you rolled, because he might, if you rolled low. So a 1st level wizard just firebolted me. Hold on a second. Hold my beer.
One thing I'm curious about, did I make him seem menacing when I had him lose his patience? Like with that little thing that he said?
I was menaced.
Yeah. I gave pause.
Hence my firebolt.
Yeah.
He wants to be aggressive. I'll show him some aggression.
Right, yeah.
It occurred to me, I didn't say it, but it occurred to me at some point while you were talking just look to the other two and yell, "Run!"
We done fucked up. Get out of here.
And I am not kidding. I was like, maybe no, probably that won't work.
He ain't buying it. Get the fuck out.
Plus, I have to say, it did weigh on my decision that I am the slowest. So maybe turn and run, and then later yell "run" when I'm like on the court.
It would have been like the end of Return of the King, where the hobbits charge, just everybody charges over them.
Well, this was definitely what the doctor ordered. I needed this today after the week that I've been having. So
derailed your plans yet?
No, they're right on track.
Okay, so we got to attack the Mind Flayer right quick.
Can't. You're Gaiused.
We're gashed. We could disobey his order. We could disobey his order once, and then we won't take any more damage. I know the nature of this spell.
Wait a minute. Is that how?
Written? Once a day you take that damage.
Yeah, maybe this, because I mean, obviously this one's a little different since he didn't need a whole minute to cast it and was able to affect 3 people at once. Maybe there are other things that are a bit different about it as well.
Plus, maybe he takes Petrie hostage until we complete the mission.
You'll never see your friend again. No, we won't.
I'll just be like, what has he done for us so far?
But I'm excited to reveal the thing that you guys are about to face.
Is it the thing that I saw?
It is. It's the thing that you saw, but there's so much more to it.
Oh,
like,
more
you know what it looks like.
Yeah.
You guys have an idea of what it's capable of if you see all this battle magic being thrown around. Either it's the cause of it or it's surviving it. But I was thinking about this campaign that we're doing, and I was thinking about how it started, and especially since we have some new characters that have joined in the middle, it's time to reintroduce a bit of the start. So there's something coming back that kind of is gonna help tie the story a bit more together.
Oh yeah.
It's time for us to go home, boys.
But also, so one thing I do want to let you guys know, because I know I'm kind of I have this story and narrative structure that I'm thinking about. But if it turns out that your characters really don't want to continue pursuing like the original goal, like especially since legitimately, you know, half of the characters have never met the Delkir and don't have the same investment that Marthau does, and actually, in fact, Elmorn doesn't even have any experience with it. So it's only Marthau and whenever Peter comes back, Colmar, that have any true investment in getting to the bottom of this. So if it turns out that you guys decide that you want to start going in a different direction, please let me know. I'll adjust the game as we need to. But
I more play with Ivar saying, "Why are we here?"
No, but it's a good question, because it's like, seriously, what am I getting myself into? Why is it okay that I'm experiencing body horrors that are more in a lifetime than anybody should ever experience? And I've had how many in the last just month?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with the direction the adventure is taken, but Martha or Ivar isn't.
The same could be said of Tacitus, actually. He's like, what the fuck did I do? Why? I had a nice job. I had it going on. There were books
Nice
there
and
I could
cushy.
read. Yeah.
It's type 2 fun. The fun that you know you're having fun afterwards.
Afterwards. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it makes sense to sort of tie, like you said, we never saw the angel-faced creature at all. So it makes sense to me to tie some of that to these new characters.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of what I'm introducing, and hopefully it terrifies you enough to realize that this is a threat on a global scale that needs to be dealt with.
So good luck with that.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you next week.
All right, guys.
See you next week.
Bye.
Take care.
Later. There's my.